As far as coaches goes, I'm never a great fan of them, but I met this lady and I needed to bring her to your attention. I wanted to introduce you to Alison Bechtel Clark, a, a trainer, a coach, and all around great lady. And I just told her that I want to be like her husband when she grows up because he does Ironman competitions. So, Allison, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Vito.
Yeah, sorry. Um, I mentioned to you earlier that my wife's a coach as well. She's
Mhm.
more of a financial home budget. I don't know if she's a coach, but she does help people get in alignment with
Mhm.
living underneath their means and becoming more financially independent. Tell me about what you do and how you got into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work mostly with entrepreneurs, small business owners to really get their life and business into alignment. So I find that a lot of times people get into business and they want to be tasky, they want to get the stuff done, they want to hit the goals, but along the way they lose who they are or the joy in life because they're so busy doing that they forget all of the reason why they're doing it for. And so my goal is to get my clients into life and business alignment so they have more fun, they get to work less, and they get to enjoy life more with their people while they're making more money.
Very cool. Very
Mhm.
cool. So, how did you fall into this?
Uh, well, it all happened a long time ago, actually. So I
Mhm.
used to run a large real estate company, had about 400 agents working for me. And there was one day I was in my office and one of my agents came in and he was very distraught with what was going on in his life. His wife was pregnant, wanted to quit her cushy job and work and not work anymore, which meant he actually had to work. And so what happened was I was able to take my business planning background and we tailored his business plan to be 100% about doing one thing that he loved. And the only thing he really liked to do was to have parties. And so taking what could have been a super big business plan, we narrowed it down to just one thing for 90 days. And he tripled his income from the previous entire year in that 90-day window. And so I knew after that experience with him that I was really on to something that I could help people to do less work but make more money in a shorter amount of time. And so over the last 23 years, I've been fine tuning how that process works and expanding it to be more just about not just what you do, but who's the person that you're bringing to the party called your business and your life. So it's more fun and engaging, and people like to do what they're doing instead of the dread of, oh my God, I have to go make lead generation calls or I've got to make this happen today. Like it's more fun and exciting.
That is awesome. I gotta say that the years that I did my happy hours, I would do a happy hour once a year, once a month. I made a rip roaring amount of money, and then every year at the end of the year, we would have something called a New Year's Eve primer party, which went from 6 to 9, and we would bring in the New Year's from New York. So we'd see the brawl drop and throw streamers and poppers and all that, and those were great years. And since COVID, we just stopped doing it. So
Mm,
it's a great little reminder that we should be doing stuff that's fun, right? That's social.
Yeah.
totally. And it creates connection with your clients in a way that's not just about business. It's really connecting with people on that one-on-one level. They get to see you as a human being too.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yep,
Right?
absolutely.
That's great.
Mhm.
And you live here in San Jose. Do you work with people outside of our great state?
I actually have clients all over the place, all over the country and Canada, the UK, and even a client in Africa. So, yes,
Wow.
everywhere. I do most of my coaching via Zoom these days, but I do in person training as well, but most of it's via Zoom.
So let me ask you, do you have a course or do you have a schedule, like a 6 month program? How does that work?
Yeah, actually, I my signature program is called my Business Victory Academy. It's a 6 month program for entrepreneurs to really take a big picture look at their values, their visions, where they're going in life, and how we attach their visions and values directly to their business vision, so they can get those two things in alignment to move forward with more momentum.
That's pretty cool.
Full
Mhm.
Um,
disclosure, by the way, I'll jump in here.
Yeah.
Just for full disclosure, I've been lucky enough to participate in that course. And so it's pretty phenomenal. And just hearing you describe all the things you do, Allison, and what you do, I was like, wow, that really describes what happens in the course. That's,
Mm,
I mean, perfectly well said. And I can testify to that.
Right.
Yeah.
awesome.
And because we're not here to pitch your idea or your business, we're here to really get people into a mindset of centeredness. And if you're a small business owner, a veteran-owned business owner, or even do you work with independent people at all, or just,
Hmm.
yeah?
I do, yes.
What kind of breakthroughs are you trying to help people? What's a great breakthrough that you can share with us?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. I think for me, like my my greatest joy when I'm working with a client is when they have that moment of seeing the one little thing that's been stopping them from everything that they want. And I find most times the people I work with are already successful. It's just sometimes there's just a little, like a sprinkle of dirt on top of whatever's going on for them, has to be brushed away for them to see what's possible. And so, I mean, I've had clients who had a moment of clarity of like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this task every day for the last 10 years, but I get no results. Why am I still doing this? And the second they stop doing it, it's like the anchor's been released and their like ship is sailing away and they're going, I am now guiding my ship the direction I actually want to go instead of doing the things I think I should be doing or I'm supposed to be doing because someone else is doing it and it works for them. But why isn't it working for me? And I think most entrepreneurs do that. Like we think if it's working for someone else, it should work for me. And if it doesn't work for me, I'm either stupid or I'm not capable or like there's these limiting conversations that happen in the background when we compare ourselves to others. And so seeing them like release that comparison, that's the greatest gift because then we can tap into their true, not just their values, but their strengths, their gifts, what they bring to the table at a completely different level.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's what was really illuminating to me about when you offered that really different way of looking at things. I think, or I don't think I know what happens a lot in, I guess, either social media or personal growth or whatever it is. Um, I think I've even pursued a lot of this too, where oh, read a book about somebody who's done it, right, or listen to that podcast about somebody who's done it, and okay, this is how they did it. Okay, got it. All right, so I need to incorporate this. If I do it this way, this is how I will get to that promised land of whatever that might be for me, and that's a different take though, right? So what you just described is it's not doing it how somebody else has done it, although it can work.
Mm-hmm.
It's take a different look at it and see what works for me or for the person who's trying to figure out the next level. I think it's just a totally different way to look at it, and there's a lot that can be dug out from there for sure.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I'm never one to say it has to be done ABC XYZ steps 1 through 7 has to be followed. That's not how it works. Like it's really and for anyone who's struggling in business in any way, shape, or form, I ask you to look at like what are your greatest gifts that you're not bringing to the party every day. Because even if like my client from forever ago, the only thing he liked to do was parties and he was damn good at it. So when that's what he did every single week, like, and here's the caveat I told him, I said,
don't become an alcoholic.
Yeah. Right?
Right. Sorry.
I already saw Vito's wheels turn like, oh, happy hour every day.
Right. Ooh, sounds good. Sounds good. But what I told him was invite 2 or 3 couples who are friends of yours, and their ticket to get to your freaking awesome party is they bring a couple that you've never met before. And so he instantly expanded his network, created connections with people on a one-on-one basis as a friend, and they trusted him. And so his income went through the roof, but that's all I had him do. There was no admin tasks. There was no other junk on his list because he sucked at that. He wasn't good at it and he didn't like it. And if it got put on his list, there's no way in the world he was going to do it. So let's just do one thing. And so if you're struggling in any shape of your business, it's like, what's the one thing that you're really good at that you really love to do? Do more of that. Like start just with that one thing and see how things will shift and change, because it's not just the task you do, it's the energy you bring to it. people can feel your authenticity. They know if you're excited about what you're doing or not. And so if you make that tiny little adjustment, it can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'll testify to that. Even though we just met, I bounced around. I've been in real estate 20 years this month, and I bounced around from dropping door hangers to door knocking to cold calling to postcards to Instagram posts. And I still do a little bit of posting on Facebook. I have this thing called REWTF, and it's just these really obnoxious things that people do to houses.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty
Yeah, but that's one of the things. And to me, marketing is constant touching without saying, "Hey, do you want to buy or sell a house?"
Mm-hmm.
I always shied away from cold calling. And when I got in, I found a lady named Karen Carr who was teaching people, agents, real estate agents, how to do YouTube, and it's basic stuff like how to sell your house in 5 easy steps, and little video tours and stuff like that. And I fell in love with it. I was horrible at it. I still am pretty horrible at video, but I go out and shoot videos every 4 times a week, and then I do a foundational. So I do like market update videos, and I don't expect people to watch them. I tell you, because it's like boring 10 minutes of here are the numbers today, and this is what it means. But what it does is there's a little flash, a little tiny signal saying, "Hey, Vito did a video on real estate." And it's a constant reminder that people that I'm doing real estate. And I've had tremendous couple years. I tell you, it's just been fantastic. So, but you keep on talking about that partying, and I'm thinking I'm going to go back to the happy hour thing. So, but that's fun.
That's what you're good at too, Vito. I think you used to have anyone at your house, right? You'd have a party at your house in the.
That's the New Year's. Yeah, just the New Year's end of the year thing. It's a primer. But since COVID, we've kind of shied away from it because liability and blah blah blah. So I think you go to the Brit. You know where the Brit is, right?
Not too far from my house.
Yeah, you could go there. You and your husband could get drunk and crawl back home.
No, her husband can train for the triathlon on the way there.
That's
exactly.
True. You can train for the triathlon on the way back.
We joke about him only out of pure jealousy.
Absolutely.
So let's see. I can ask what you do for fun, but I guess you watch him run Ironmans. Is that right?
I do watch a lot of that, yes. And I drive my kids to hockey practice a lot. Yes. That's pretty much it. Either ice hockey or Ironman. Those are the two things in between.
Your husband does hockey, or you play hockey?
Oh, no. My kids play hockey.
Oh, very cool.
I watch a lot of hockey. They play a lot of hockey.
Are you a good ice skater?
I'm horrible. Like they make so much fun of me because I'm so bad. Yeah. It's terrible.
And you have like 25 kids, so it's
pretty much.
You get that.
Yeah.
It's a busy house.
Yeah.
I only see a dog. I only see like a boxer. Oh, you do? Holy cow! You do 1, 2, 3. Holy moly! You must be Catholic.
5 kids, my husband, and my mother-in-law, and 2 dogs.
You're an amazing soul. Wow. You're a very patient person. But I guess the mother-in-law can drive to hockey, right?
You don't want that.
Okay.
And Alison, you also completed your own Iron Woman, I guess, or Iron Man, whatever though.
Yeah, well, I did a half Ironman like 10 years ago, and afterwards I was like, I'm never doing a full Ironman. And then for whatever reason, a few months ago, I got inspired to do an actual full Ironman. It's 140.6 miles in a day. And so that's coming up in April. April 27th is my race day. So I've been training for that.
I don't know why I thought you had done one.
No, not yet. No, I did a 70.3, which is half of it. But
you did a half one. Gotcha.
Yes.
10 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just thinking about that makes me sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Me too. I try not to think about it. I just focus on the daily workout I have to do and not think about the long day. It's up to 17 hours you have to do the race. It's a long day.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like Gran Turismo.
Yes.
I don't know if you ever watched that movie. It just came out like a few months ago, and it just popped on Netflix or I don't know.
It did.
And,
Yeah,
and that,
actually, I just watched it on my flight to Texas last week. I was doing a training over there, and I watched it on the way because my kids saw it and they loved it.
yeah, I think it's such an inspirational message that, you do something that you're totally in love with, figure out how to do it, and you're going to get knocked down doing it, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be things that get in your way, and you got to figure out how to get around it and reach down deep inside your heart and pull up on your heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
And I say putting on your adult pants, because I teach courses on how to get in front of video to agents, because there's a lot of people that have stage fright, including me. And you got to put your adult pants on, right? um, and it's just so inspirational to watch people go through that and fall and fail and not give up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Totally. The
yeah,
other thing too, I was thinking about, because that movie was super inspirational about what he had to go through, but also the transformation that happened with his support group.
right,
Like when he was willing to race and fail and fail and fail and fail and not be able to get fourth place to be able to get his actual license, to finally he did, and his whole pit crew had hated him before that, and then suddenly they were like, I'll race with you any day. And his
right,
coach was pushing him constantly, and his dad, who came around, like what I walked away with was, when you put like your stake in the ground to say, this is who I am and this is what I'm creating, when you stick with it and are committed to it and things start to change, then other people, like the ripple effect goes out. That was what was really very cool for me, to like resonated with me, is the people who support me are just as important as what I bring to the table, but I got to go first.
right. You got to put that line in the sand and step over it, and then
Yeah.
let people see that you can fail and you're okay, because that's part of life, right? You have to learn how to fall. Just like if you're ice skating, Allison, get out there and skate. That's the only way you're going to learn, is by skating.
I'm with her on that one. I'm a terrible ice skater. I'm a great ice faller. However, I can
Me
do that
too.
extremely well.
Yes. Yeah. The last time I skated with my kids, actually, I slipped and fell, and my phone was in my back pocket. Killed my phone.
That's a good thing you had your phone there, because it could have broke your
Yeah,
foot.
exactly. Broke my fall.
Yeah, my phone.
All of my kids skate. I skate. I've skated since I was a kid. I'm from Canada, so I was born with
That makes
skates on.
sense.
And I teach people that the only way you're going to learn how to get better at skating is by falling. Just
Mm-hmm.
and that's the same mindset, right?
It totally
Right.
is.
Right. One thing you talked about earlier, or I don't know if we were on screen yet. We were talking about, or I think I brought it up, is I've heard you speak on this, on connecting your values into your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how that can, how that can increase basically your profit, make you more efficient, make your business grow because you're
Mm-hmm.
in alignment. Could you give me a little bit more on that?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I remember when I first started in real estate, actually, I was very, I felt like I had to have two different worlds, right? Like my business life was one thing and my personal life was another. I was very young. I was like 20 years old. And, and I wasn't confident enough in who I was as a human being to be able to bring my personal self to my professional life. I felt like I had to act super professional over here and not really be me. And I realized over the years is that the more that I was in alignment with my values, who I am, and my personality and what I bring to the table, the more I could connect with people on like a real level. And it wasn't fake. It was more authentic. And so I started teaching my real estate agents and my clients at the time, like, how do you really get in tune with, number one, what you value in life? Because who you are in life is who you're going to bring to business. And if you don't, people know, right? They know that you're faking it. And so that inauthenticity actually repels people away. But when you really own, here's who I am, like I'm a person who values family and integrity and connection with people. And when that's where I come from, then that creates a magnetizing effect where the people who resonate with me come to me. And so that's how you create real connections with people. And I find that when my clients are able to really dig into Here are my values. Number one, what's most important for me. Here are the people I like to work with most. And here are my strengths. Like when we can put all those things into one big ball of like awesomeness, that's when things start to click,
Yeah.
because they're feeling like all of the wholeness of them is coming to the table. They get to be authentic and have fun instead of being in the struggle of, I have to act a certain way and live in this box. Like the box goes away
Yeah.
and they actually start to expand where they're coming from.
Right. And I think most people also, instead of operating from that place, they can operate from a place where they want to be able to attract as many people as they can. And so they're not being authentically who they want to be or who they are. And so they can find their people, right? Instead they're trying it's almost like
Totally.
scarcity game, right? So they want to try to get whoever they can, right?
Yes.
Anybody's a client. Anybody can buy my service product or thingy. And instead, they're not attracting the people they really want to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's the other piece of that too, is that when you think that anyone is a client, you attract anyone, and then those people tend to be the ones who are the problem clients, because you're actually not in alignment, right? You're not on the same vibration. Like I have a client, actually Patrick knows her too. We were having our call the other day and we were talking about your ideal client. She goes, oh, my ideal client used to be anybody. She's a stylist, right? She dresses people for a living. Anybody who wears clothes. Like, well, where are you taking them shopping? Are you going to Walmart? Are you going to Nordstrom? Like, who's your actual client? And it took a while for her to land down on who the people are that she actually serves. But when she did, they got into alignment, and now she has clients that are really grateful for her services and willing to pay her what she's worth, because they know that it's a value to them. But people who, if you're just trying to serve everyone, they're not going to see the value in the services you provide.
That's so true. I'm thinking about all the time this has happened to me. So just to be honest, like this is exactly where I started from, and I can think of all those times where I said yes to folks that did not resonate with me, or not that they're bad people or anything like that. They just weren't my people, and they weren't the clients that I wanted to work with the most. And it was a disservice to them, frankly, and a disservice to me, because they didn't get the best of me, and it just doesn't always work out to be a winning scenario. It's probably more win-lose. Like they got great service from me. However, I didn't get compensated for my time. I would say that happened probably a lot, and that's not their fault. That's my fault, right? So, yeah, that totally makes sense, and that's still a journey I think I'm on, and getting better and better. I don't think I'm ever perfect there. However, I can totally identify with all that.
I can tell you straight up that I've been doing that for about 5-10 years, the avatar idea. And every once in a while, I get off on my little direction and I will accept a client. And every time I do it, I am sorry that I did. It winds up taking more time. It takes me emotional energy. It gives me self-doubt. I regret every time doing that. I had a lady who, well, I think she was a narcissist in the beginning, at the end, but she was so sweet and so nice. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm going to sell her house. And she just turned on me. And it was the worst experience for me. And, I pride myself on giving good service and being there for my people and answering everything. And at the end of the day, she stabbed me in the back so many times that I had to relegate myself to just communicating with her through email and have my broker tied into it, so that, because everything that I said was slanderous and a lie, and she was perfect, and nothing she did was the way it could have gone smoothly. She doubted everything from the time we got into contract, which was just a horrible place to be, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was thinking as you were talking, Vito, and I was listening to myself talk. Why
Are you gonna fire me?
No, hell no. No.
Vito, you're a horrible person. You're fired.
Lies. Horrible, because you haven't started this happy hour thing yet.
Okay, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I'll meet you at the frickin' Anyways, what was I saying? I think it took me becoming a dad, starting a family, to realize how valuable time is. Like time is so important. Like, of course, I kind of knew that already. However, it's just I understood it at a different level, and so I have to be more choosy about who I work with because I don't have all the time in the world. I need to be very efficient with my time. Whereas in my 20s or when I was first starting out, I feel like I had the time, so and I need money now, right? I need
Hmm.
money now. I need money now. So I'll see whoever I can see, and they're all potential client. However, it's a recipe for disaster, and I can go back in time and give myself that advice of like, hey, get choosy faster, and things will happen faster. For sure, I believe it stunted my growth by working with whoever I could.
I don't think it stunted your growth. I think it made you realize who your anti-client is.
Sure, absolutely. It took me way longer to do that than it should have. I think, and there was growth in working with people who weren't the ideal client. It's just it took me starting a family for me to really like, oh, I need to really buckle this down. Like this is
Hmm.
like
Yep.
this is
Like every
now.
time I have a listing, I sold a house right down the street from you in Cambrian, and I had so many people asking me if I would represent them. I was a listing agent, and typically I don't like to do it. So I put my guard up, and I have really strict guidelines as to how you're going to work with me if I'm going to represent you as a buyer. And
Hmm.
first and foremost is the only thing I give you as a buyer when I'm the listing agent is you get insider knowledge as to what the highest offer is. That's it, and you have to beat it, or else I'm not going to represent you because that's that's my value add. I'm not going to give you any of my commission. I'm not going to get. I'm not. I'm working for the seller, and um, I had 5 people contact me, and I let them know exactly where we stand on that, and none of them wanted to play games or play ball with me, and 4 of them went away, and one of them gave me an offer. I said, "Here's the top 3 offers." He goes, "I'm going to go $1,000 over the second highest offer." I go, "Okay, well, I'm not going to write the offer for you." He goes, "Okay, well, let me know if anything happens." I'm like, "You're not going to be my client because you're just nothing but trouble. So
Yeah,
Hmm.
goodbye."
yeah,
Right. And it's part of my ethics and part of what we do in real estate is you have to either represent your client or you don't. If you don't, then where do you stand?
Yeah.
And
But doesn't that feel good, Vito, to have that clear boundary set beforehand so that it's not wishy washy? There's no second guessing yourself. You're just like, here's who I am and here's what I provide. And if you love it, great. If you don't, that's okay too.
yeah, I mean, I've made those mistakes. I've been doing this for 20 years, and
Yeah.
I think people realize it. And my client, I was showing my client where we were because I have a dashboard of all that we had 14 offers, and I was like, "This is where it is, and this is where this guy came in." Is like, she's like, "What do you think?" I go, "I think he's a pain in the ass. Let's not deal with him." He goes, "Yep, let's not." And that was it. And
Mm-hmm.
the discussion of me taking 2 commissions was never on the table because, well, second of all, if that happens, I split my buyer's agent commission and give it back to the seller, not to the buyer, because
Mm-hmm.
then it's a much better deal. So um, she would have won it either way, but at the same time, I just had the little spidey sense on the back of my neck saying, "This guy
Yeah.
is not worth your time. Just walk away."
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's agents out there that are desperate and will take that money. And I can't come from that idea, that mindset of lack. Just it's
Right.
dangerous.
I can, as you're talking, I'm thinking of experiences I've had with that too, and it comes back to what you were saying, Allison. If I'm clear about who I am and what I want and who I'm working with, it just makes it so much easier to say no to those temptations. Because as an advisor, it can be very tempting when somebody comes to me and says they have X amount of dollars somewhere that they need support with. Right? It's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
hell, let me have at it. Oh, but there's these other things going on, and this happens very often where I can end up wasting a lot of time meeting with somebody who is not ready to have an advice. They don't want any. They don't even want advice, right? They just somebody told them to meet with an advisor, so they're doing it, and they're better off just leaving their money in the bank or a savings account. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just was right for them in that moment. And me having to go through the process of trying to educate just so I can get this sale, so to speak, or to get this client,
Mm-hmm.
knowing, and I already know in the back of my mind, like, you know what, this person is not right for me. I'm trying to convince them right now. And this is going beyond an education. And this is going to blow up in my face. Why do I know that? Because it's happened before. So, helping to be clear about who I am, what I want, who I want to work with is totally helps. Even in those situations where it's not even a nefarious, where it's not a bad person, it's just not the right person. And so that's really helped me for sure. It's just been being clear on those things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head there too, where you said, if you feel like, when you feel like you have to convince them to work with you, they're not your people.
Right. Right. Right.
If they come calling you, so that's why I don't cold call. I'm just getting back into emailing after probably 3 or 4 years, just to remind people that I do, these daily videos and market updates. But that's really just more of a value add, just to remind them, because I'm full force on Facebook, and that's where my people are. That's where my demographic, that's where my avatar is. Those are my people, and they call me. They call me when they have questions. And sometimes it's like, hey, Vito, do you know a plumber? I'm like, there you go, plumber. No, I'm like, hey, do you want to buy or sell a house? Never, ever. They call me and say, I have to sell a house, or I have to sell my mom's house, or whatever. And it comes to me. Am I doing like $1 million, a million deals a year? No, but you know what? I am not trying to get to that point. I'm abundantly happy where I am right now.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's go back to your business. I sent you a text a couple minutes ago. Alison, who's your typical client? You mentioned real estate, but you have a whole bunch, but who is your avatar? I would guess is a good question.
My ideal client is a small business entrepreneur, really. Someone who has between 1 to 5 employees, maybe, who's at the point of like trying to figure out, how do I grow my business? How do I get a business plan? How do I create leverage in my life, even if they don't have a ton of cash flow right now or resources at the moment? Because I'm really good at figuring out ways to leverage what you do have. Because when I first got started, I was running my real estate company, like I said before. And at the time, I was not married, had no children. I was working 14 to 17-hour days every day. And I loved it, right? I loved what I did. I loved working with my agents. I would do like 10 recruiting interviews a day sometimes, and I'd be like wiped by the time I got home. But I loved it. And then I got pregnant. And I was like, holy crap, I can't bring a kid into my world. Are you freaking kidding me? This is ridiculous. Like, I would never see this child. Like, I have to fix something. And so over the course of the next like 7-8 months, I figured out who I had in my life that I could teach to be me so I could work less time. And so by the time my son was born, I went from working 6 to 7 days a week to working 4 days a week. And then, lo and behold, like 9 months later, I got pregnant again. And my second son was born. I went down to working 3 days a week. And then about 10 months later, I got pregnant one more time with my daughter. And we figured out what the problem was, and we had it fixed so that way I didn't have to do this again, right? So my third child.
When you say the problem, you mean the repeated getting pregnant over and over again?
That part. That part, yes. We figured it out.
No more happy hours at the Brit. And
yeah, no more. No. All good. So when my daughter was born, I ended up only working 2 8-hour days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 hours a day. That was it. But what I realized was that after she was born, I took a look at my financials one day. I'm like, holy crap, I'm making like 3 times more money than I was when I was working 17 hours a day. But I'm not working that much. Like, how did I go from that to this? Like, what did it take? And it really took empowering the people around me and really training and teaching and pouring into others who were there to be able to think like me, right? So they could be me while I was gone. And it was the most liberating thought ever, because I'd heard some of my mentors saying, anything that or what they say, there's no task too small to subcontract. And I'd be like, but it's a light bulb. I could fix the light bulb. Oh, the toilet's clogged. I can fix that. This needs to be cleaned. I could do that. And I was putting everything onto me. But when I let go and focused on the few things that only I could do, right? Just those few little things that I was super good at, and I really couldn't teach someone else how to do that. That was when everything changed. I was working way less. I was earning way more, and I got to spend time with my family. And so that's how I got really passionate about what I do, was seeing all of my real estate agents working their tails off, because a lot of people don't realize real estate agents don't get paid unless they close a deal. Right. And so that's how most of our businesses work. As all entrepreneurs, we don't get paid unless we actually provide the value and the deal closes. And so these people would be coming around going, oh, show me 47 houses. And I literally had a real estate agent come in. She goes, oh my God, I'm exhausted. We saw literally 23 houses today. And I'm like, what? How many miles did you drive? Oh, like, 400. Well, how much did you pay? How much did you spend in gas? And when we really started looking at that, she realized she was putting herself in the hole every day by over giving to people instead of setting a boundary and going, this is what I'm good at. I'm not good at showing properties. Right. So figuring out how to leverage that part of it is like something that I'm really passionate about. So these small business owners who can do everything because they start the business knowing they're good at that thing, but then they realize they're not just the producer of the product itself, but they got to do all the marketing, right? They got to do all the financial stuff. They got to do everything. It's super overwhelming sometimes. And so when you're able to get rid of all the noise and just narrow down to a few things, that's when I find like the real rubber hits the road and you're able to go to get some grip and get some momentum and start moving forward instead of feeling like you're stuck in too much to do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I answered your question, but that was that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, I guess.
No, I feel like your passion comes through there. Like you got in the zone. Like this is.
I
this is wild.
did.
You were totally on it. It was like, holy cow, sign me up. I wanted your permission to share this video with my video editing clients. I also have a video post-production company called Video Ease, and it's huge.
Uh-oh.
Lost you, Vito.
I think we lost Vito.
So you guys froze.
Oh, there you go. No, you froze. No.
Now you're back.
So my video editing
Nope, now we
company.
lost the audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Yep.
My video editing company, I think my clients and my prospects could really hear that message, because that's my USP.
Mm-hmm.
Your job is to sell real estate, not sit and edit a video for 4 to 6 hours.
Totally.
Right? You can absolutely hire somebody, but then you're spending time managing that person and tracking them down. Mm-hmm. So that's why my company exists, and that's growing. And so I'm going to share this with them as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the fact, right? I'm leveraging other people so that you can. I mean, we talked about it at the beginning. Doing what I need to spend my time doing what I love and what's best about me, and bringing that to my business, as opposed to all these other things that drain me of energy, that get me out of the mood, that don't excite me, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, because here's the other thing. Like, so I actually have videos that need to be edited for me, right? And they sit in my box knowing they need to be edited. Unless I send them to someone else, it's never going to happen.
Right.
Because if I were to do it, one of two things is going to happen. The first thing is I'm going to sit and stare at it and be really frustrated because I don't really know how to do it very well. And even if I did edit it, it'd probably be a pretty crappy edit and the end product would not be very good. Right?
Yeah.
And then during that time that I'd be struggling to try to get this thing done, my energy would be completely drained. I'd be really irritated and frustrated. And then by the time my kids get home from school, I'd be grumpy mom instead of happy mom to see them when they come home, right? So it's like your business life gets into your personal life when you put too much weight on yourself, right, as opposed to letting go of the stuff that is really not in your zone of genius. Like, let it go and do what you're really good at to make more money from those few things, to pay for the leverage piece of it.
Oh, I like that. Zone of genius. I like that.
I can totally attest to that, because I am a creative, and I can spend 8 hours on a 10-minute video, and I love it. And it's so rewarding to me. But then I look back and I go, I could have been at a happy hour networking with people,
Yeah.
bringing in business,
Mhm.
right? And for the few dollars that it cost me to edit that, I mean, have somebody else do it, I could have been making more business. And, and then, so like my whole real estate business is tied around how to leverage other people, right? I have a project manager, I have a transaction coordinator, I have an escrow team, I have other agents that do other things for me. And I sit here and bring in business. That's my job.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really what I like doing. I love talking to people. I love networking. And that's what at San Jose State, we do our financial intelligence program there. And then we do, we talk to amazing people like you. And this is the stuff that I enjoy. Would I love to spend 8 hours a day editing videos? Probably not. But doing it once in a while is great joy. And it's just something that, I'm a do-it-yourselfer, but you can't scale your business out as a do-it-yourselfer.
That's right. That's right. And as you were talking about all those compounding effects from staring at the video all the way down to grumpy mom when kids get home, it's like those second and third order effects as we use in the military. It's like it's not just the one thing you're fixing by leveraging somebody else. There's compounding effects here that ripple out, right? And I think that's what you mean by
Absolutely.
like that rubber meeting the road when
Mm-hmm.
you can dial it in that way. Don't discount the impact those things can make. Yeah.
I think delegation is the most difficult thing to train into people. And it took
Especially
me
a controller, like you like to, like I like to have control, and so for me to delegate is
to delegate correctly, because you could be a complete control freak, right?
yeah.
If you're a control freak and you're like micromanaging every minute of everybody's time, then you're not scaling your body out. You're not scaling your business out.
And it's strange for me because being in my 27th year of military service, like as an NCO in the military, I've actually been pretty good doing it there. And for some reason, I haven't been able to translate that into my business as well,
Hmm.
oddly enough. And I don't say that because I think so. I know so from feedback, right? I'm effective doing it there. And so it's not that I do know how, and I haven't been so good at it in my personal life for whatever reason.
Huh. I was going to ask you about that, because I would think in the military that you do a lot of
Yeah.
leveraging and delegating. So what do you think is the difference between the structure of the military of being able to delegate easier than you do individually on your own?
I know. I can answer that perfectly for
Mhm.
Patrick. His wife is in charge. He's
Ah!
not.
Well, we all know that. I mean,
That's facts. That's spitting facts.
It might be me,
true.
but it's fact.
That's true. That's a whole other conversation there. That'd be a good conversation, but that's a whole other conversation. That's a great question, Allison. I think the structure in the context there, it's almost inherent that you need to that you do that, and it's built into the culture, right? That doesn't mean everybody's good at it. That you have the control freaks there, and it's a problem. Whereas I feel like I'm on my own here,
hmm.
right? I don't have a staff, or I don't have people that build that culture into. And it's kind of just me. It isn't just me. However, I feel like there's different pieces that I haven't done well in creating that culture with, so that
Maybe
yeah,
that's your next part of your journey, buddy.
man,
Mm-hmm.
probably. I think I have a problem with trusting others with the responsibilities I have with the people that I serve.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
That's
think that's probably.
that's enlisted micromanagement right there.
Yeah, totally, right. And again, I can do it there, and can't do it here, or haven't been able to be as good at it here yet.
Yeah. Well,
And
I mean, I can just tell from my experience, if I hadn't been put in that position to get myself committed to figuring out how to delegate by
Mhm.
getting pregnant, like I
Yeah,
wouldn't be. I would also still have too much on my plate all the time.
right.
So like putting yourself in the mindset, or maybe taking some time to really reflect on like what's at stake for not if I keep to not delegate, what's the future of my business versus when I get committed to figuring out what resources I have around me I could utilize to be able to leverage what's possible.
Yeah.
Right? Because those are two very different conversations, and both of them probably go on at the same time. But like, which one are you really going to get behind to create a different outcome so you can spend more time with your kids, because that's really what's at stake.
That's right. That's right. And you're hitting the nail on the head. And through the work I've done with you, actually, and the forcing function of having a family, has had me really be conscious about those things now. So I say
Absolutely.
I'm not as good as it yet, because this is something now I'm consciously starting to work on. And I
Mm-hmm.
realize, like, hey, wait a second, this is not connecting. I'm good here, but not good there. Like, okay, let's work on this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
from experience, I can tell you that I grew up without a dad. I had stepdads. They were there, right? But they weren't there. They weren't my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was never around. And part of that made me realize that I always wanted to be the parent that was at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go to 100% of them, but I went to 99 or maybe 95% of them. And I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed business. I sacrificed a lot of every time I go on vacation, I lose a deal. It just goes away, right? I just accept it. But that's okay, because in my abundant mindset, it's going to come back to me. And um, I still feel like I wish I had more time with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
My son's in college now. He's out. My daughters are twins, and they're juniors in high school. So I'm trying to spend as much time as I can with them, and just realizing that I'm on the tail end of where Patrick is right now, because he's just like, brand new parent. And
I just miss sleep. I just want to sleep.
yeah, you'll get that. You'll get back to that. Cat naps, dude. I mean, but just look at it from the 500-foot view, and you'll not be disappointed or regret anything. Don't regret missing out on a hockey game.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. That's why I think I've mentioned before, the one benefit, there's many benefits, but a benefit that I'm very clear about of being a dad, because there's a lot of downsides of being a dad at 43 instead of 23, is that I'm so much clearer about the passing of time. Like, I know
Mm-hmm.
time is just like not in ample supply the way I would love it to be. And so it's just make it very clear to me to be very present when I'm with my kids, and when I'm not, that makes sure what I'm doing is efficient and powerful, and that I need to start working on these things to leverage, like we were talking about, so that I can free up more of my time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really helped me with that for sure. And it's still a journey, still working on that.
I don't know about you, Allison, but for me, the sleep comes and goes. And as you get older, I mean, you're nowhere near as old as I am, but
That's right.
I find that I have insomnia. When I wake up, I'm always going back to work, thinking work, or thinking whatever, and it's just part of life. And I feel like I've sacrificed a lot of income, but I do have memories,
Mm-hmm.
and that's more important to me than anything.
I agree.
Yeah.
But you're saying that you can actually have an idea of how to leverage this and scale it out and use other people, not use
Mm-hmm.
other people, but leverage other people.
Yeah, because the real thing that I discovered over time is that there's people who actually love to do the stuff that I hate. Like, that's their strength zone, their zone of genius is doing like the accounting, the bookkeeping, the tasky stuff, the paperwork, the things I never want to do. They like love it. And when I give them those things, I'm relieved, they're relieved. Like, it's a win-win all the way around. It's just finding the right people who can support you to do those.
That's truly it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I love doing the project management of getting a house ready to sell, like dealing with contractors and digging in and getting dirty and bringing in staging and doing all that stuff. But that's a good 40 hours per listing, 50 hours that I could be otherwise building my business,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or spending time with my kids.
Yeah.
So I pay my property manager, my project manager, out of my paycheck. But I feel it's fair and equitable to all sides because it's giving me back my life, right?
Mhm.
So
It's
I
valid.
don't know what you need to do, Patrick. Maybe administratively or marketing wise or what have
Yes
you.
and yes, all the
Mhm.
above. And yeah, working on that too. So getting those pieces in place for 2024. And I gotta say, a lot of that was due to to a lot of the work we did together, Allison. So I have a lot of gratitude for
Mhm.
that because it really supported me. Not that you gave me answers, just to be clear, but it helped me. I guess gave me a framework to think about these things in a way that um, was just much more supportive to get to a decision faster. I guess, if you
Yeah.
will.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. I didn't ask you where your favorite restaurant is.
Oh, I love the Vegetarian House actually in downtown San Jose.
Vegetarian house. Are you a
Mhm.
vegetarian?
Uh, Mostly yes. I do eat like shrimp and salmon. Like pescatarian might be better, but I'm
Okay.
also gluten free. So yeah, I don't really eat much meat. My rest of my family does, but
Yep.
I prefer vegetables.
One of my daughters is a total meat eater, and the other one's a vegetarian. And I go, I support your vegetarianism 110%. But the caveat is I get to bust her chops about being a vegan. So everything is she's a vegan. She's like, I'm not a vegan, I'm a vegetarian. I go, it doesn't matter to me. But she knows I'm goofing around. So
Ah, that's funny.
yeah, well, good. Um,
Also, we didn't cover it, but just so you know, Vito, Allison also used to be a competitive and dominant swimmer and
oh,
compete.
really?
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you swim in Arizona? You come from Arizona,
Yeah, there's pools everywhere in Arizona.
but it's dry. It's like a dry heat. It's a
Oh, it's
desert.
seriously like 110 in Arizona feels way colder than like 100 degrees here. 90 degrees, even 95. It's a totally different animal. It's so hot here compared to Arizona.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna buy that one.
For real, I'm telling you. It's true. And I didn't realize it till we moved here and had our first summer in San Jose. I was like, dang, it's only 90, but it feels like 105 in Arizona. Like it's so different.
It's not
Interesting.
the swampy humidity, but it is humidity, and the
Yeah,
humidity versus the dry aridness of the desert, it makes a huge difference.
it
And
does.
it's true.
I had one last question for you, Allison. I know
Yeah.
you do the Business Victory Academy, which is kind of like your flagship course, where
Yep.
for the people you talked about that you like to work with to kind of go through a process, right? Was there anything else that is there any other ways to work with you, or is that the way?
No, that's one of the main ways to work with me for sure. Because that's like my foundational piece for entrepreneurs to get their business in alignment, right? To lay the foundation for their values, their vision, where they're going with their business, and get their strategic action plan, which is my one-page business plan instead of the 47 pages it could be, to like a narrowed down business plan. And so from there, once that's all in place, then my next program is a leadership program. And so it's the Leadership Academy, all about how do you lead as a leader of your company? How do you grow? How do you hire people? How do you find the right people? How to instill culture in your business, like all the big picture stuff to actually build a like more of a company, if you will. So you have more going on than just you by yourself. Then I also have a mastermind program for like-minded business owners to come on twice a month to be able to do a mastermind together and talk about what's working, what's not working,
Oh,
and
cool.
dig into those types of things. And I love the mastermind. It's probably one of my favorite things actually, because when I get like it's like a curated group of people who come together, like I get to pick and choose who's a part of it. It's so cool to hear their interactions with each other, and one person's experience leads to the other. And
Mm.
what I found, I read a study the other day that group programs actually create transformation 5 times faster than individual coaching programs because of the group working together and giving each other feedback. You just grow exponentially learning from each other's experiences.
Yeah, I bet I could
Mhm.
attest to that in my experiences in group type of learning activities, like a mastermind for sure. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes complete sense. Yeah,
I think
totally.
we kind of experienced that just today, the last 54 minutes. We kind
yeah,
of
Right.
got together, started throwing ideas, and kind of grew together. So, yeah.
totally.
Well, we'll have to have Allison out to the happy hour. And then
Well, I have your email now, so you can't get rid of me.
you get to meet John, who will convince you how to train for your Ironman.
Exactly.
I'm not going to do it now. No, I'm too old.
What?
That's the one thing I will not do is run. I got ran into the ground in the Marines, and I hate the PFT. Sit-ups, pull-ups, and running. Those are the things I hate doing.
Hmm. Well, my husband is 54. I don't know how old you are, Vito.
He probably has better hips than me too. How did I put that into the gutter all of a sudden?
Oh boy.
Oh boy. All right. Well, Alison, do you have like a trial or any kind of way for us?
Something like I'm open to doing like 30-minute coaching sessions with people, like a laser focused coaching session to kind of get them on track with one thing. I can certainly do that.
Okay. And you deal with not just service small business, but you do like parts and products sells too, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We should send her over to Wayne.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's awesome, Allison. That you would offer, and just so I'm clear, you will let anybody we send your way just to get an experience of you get some coaching for no more than 30 minutes on a laser focused obstacle or challenge they're having to move forward. Wow.
Totally.
Right. And I'm sure the caveat is, one per week or one per month or what have you, but it's also a great opportunity for you to check them out and see if they're coachable and pliable, right?
That's the win-win. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I can send you guys a link for that too, if you want.
Perfect.
Cool.
Allison, thanks for your hour today. That was awesome.
Yeah, my pleasure. So nice to meet you, Vito.
I'll see you at my happy hour.
Awesome. Yeah. I can't wait.
Never
know when we're going to have it.
Remember, make sure you get them appetizers, be vegetarian appetizers.
Right, there you go.
Of course. I'll get shrimp. I'll get shrimp. Special for you.
Thanks, Allison. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, you guys.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Cool.